Good day, guys. I'm Borak Maria Eliza Kate, and I will be your student teacher for today's lesson, together with Sir Dayata John Paul and Sir De La Serna Rolando. Our topic for today is all about application of mathematical models. Our learning objective is define what a mathematical model is and explain its purpose in various disciplines. Describe different types of mathematical models used in economics, biology, and social science, engineering, and physical sciences. Explain real-world examples where mathematical models are applied to solve problems or make predictions. Lastly is create simple mathematical representation of real-world situation from economics, biology, and social sciences, engineering, and physical sciences.
Introduction to mathematical models. A mathematical model is a numerical or quantitative representation of a real-world system using mathematical concepts like equations or graphs. So, ang ibig sabihin, ang mathematical models daw ay isa siyang quantitative representation. So, what do we mean by quantitative representation? Ibig sabihin, ginagamitan ito ng yun nga, mga real-world system, mathematical concepts like equations, yung mga numbers using formulas, equations, graphs, or illustration, and etc. And also, we have the purpose of mathematical models, which is the representation, prediction, understanding, and optimization. Pag sinabing representation, ito yung ginagamitan ng mga graphs ng graphs ng models and such as image. And also, we have a prediction, which is the prediction when it comes to weather, forecasting of disease or weather, and tracking disease or viruses. Ayan. And also, we have a understanding when it comes to economics, social sciences, engineering, and so on. And also, we have a optimization when it comes to our what do we call this, in our sciences, because we will use this in our and it is very important for our everyday lives. So next is the types of models. So we have a descriptive models. So a descriptive model is a representation of a system or data that summarizes and describes its characteristics, patterns, and relationships to facilitate understanding. So descriptive models, ito yung ginagamitan ng bukod sa data or mga numerical na nakikita natin when it comes to mathematical models, we have a descriptive models kung saan dinidescribe isa-isa, bawat isa, yung mga nakalagay na data doon or nakapaloob na data doon sa representation or graph. And also, we have a predictive models, which is the predictive models use a historical data and statistical algorithms to forecast future outcomes or unknown events. And they are a key component of predictive analytics, which analyzes current and past data to identify patterns and predict trends, customer behavior, and other activities. So, ayun. Ang predictive models is from history or yung mga dating nangyayari before, and then patuloy pa rin pinipredict yung future, kung ano bang mga pwedeng or possible na mangyari in the future. Yun yung predictive models. Kumbaga doon tinitingnan kung ano yung mga possible na mangyayari in the future. And next is statistical models. So, dito naman sa statistical models is a mathematical representation of a data gathering process used to understand relationships between variables and make predictions. It simplifies real-world complexity by using statistical assumptions and equations to model population based on a sample. Excuse me. A sample statistical models ay ito yung mga ginagamitan natin ng like for example sa mga research natin, 'di ba? Ginagamitan natin 'yun ng statistical model, which is yung statistics when it comes to especially when you are doing a research quantitative research. So, 'yan. Next is the what do we call this? Deterministic versus probabilistic models. So, dito naman, ang deterministic models give one fixed output for a given input. Something certainty and no randomness like a calculator. Ideal for precise rules compliance checks with probabilistic models incorporate chance, providing a range of potential outcome with likelihoods uh, perfect for uncertainty and evolving data or fraud detection personalization. Excuse me. So, ang deterministic daw, ito yung, like for example, yung calculator. So, ginagamitan natin ng, what we call this, scientific calculator when we have a given input. And while yung probabilistic models, ito yung mga hindi tayo sure or ginagamitan natin um, yung isang data ng probability, which is kung saan hindi tayo ganun ka sure sa sa gusto nating malaman. So kaya nga natin ginagamitan ng probabilistic or probability model. So yun yung pinagkaiba ng deterministic and probabilistic model. Yung deterministic ginagamitan ng calculator or scientific calculator in order for us to be sure sa magiging input. And then yung sa probability naman, ito yung ginagamitan natin ng yung isang sample ng or yung isang bagay ay kailangan natin makuha yung hindi tayo sure na yung magiging kalabasan or result. Ayan. Next is the what do we call this? General steps in mathematical modeling. So first, we have the identify the real world problem. Syempre, kailangan muna nating i-identify kung ano ba yung mga problema na hinaharap. And then, second is make assumptions. Syempre, kailangan natin mag-assume na okay, yung problem na to is kailangan natin na gawa ng meron ka na dapat assumption kung ano yung mga magiging possible outcome, ganyan. And then, formulate the model. Magpa-formulate ka ng model or which is yung mga nauna kong sinabi na mga models na iba't ibang uri ng models. And then, we have this solve or analyze kung saan doon natin makikita yung mga step-by-step process kung paano ba natin kailangan gawin yung or masolusyonan yung problema na yon. And next is the interpret. Kailangan syempre bawat natin may interpretation tayo. Hindi lang yung puro solve or ganyan-ganyan. Kailangan din natin bukod sa mga data natin na inilalagay, kailangan din natin ng interpretation in order for us to clear kung ano ba talaga yung mga nandoon. Kung ano yung nire-represent ng mga data or ng number na nandoon. And syempre, lastly is validate or revise. Validate, papavalidate natin sa mas expert, sa mas expert na what we call this or mas higher. Kumbaga may mas experience or mas alam or mas knowledgeable pagdating sa ginagawa natin ng solusyon. Kailangan natin ipa-validate sa mga expert. And next is revise also kasi kailangan natin i-revise in order for us to do or for the betterment of our research or our what do we call this? For our better solution. Ayan.
Applying models in economic. The application of mathematical models in economics refers to the use of equations, functions, graphs, and statistical methods to represent and analyze economic behavior, market interaction, and financial system. These models help us to predict prices, optimize resources, measure growth, and guide decision making in areas such as supply and demand, production costs, and economic forecasting. Mathematical models are applied in economics to analyze and understand complex economic systems, making a prediction and informed decision making. Yes, by applying mathematical models, economists can test hypotheses, estimate parameters, and simulate scenarios to evaluate policy interventions, investment strategies, and business decisions. Let's proceed to the first model, which is supply and demand models. Supply and demand models from the core of microeconomics, explaining how prices and quantities are determined in the competitive market. So first is linear and non-linear supply demand curve. So yung first is demand curve. Yung formula natin ng demand curve is ganito siya. Q, tapos sa baba yung big letter na D. This function shows the quantity of a good consumers na willing and able to buy different prices. It typically has a negative slope or the law of demand. As price increases, quantity demanded decreases. So meron tayo dyang linear example. QD equals A minus B. Kung babasahin mo siya inward, demand curve is equals to A minus B price. Yung B kasi is, ayun yung magiging price natin. And yung non-linear example naman is, demand curve is equals to K price, a rectangular hyperbola, or Q, or demand curve is equal to AE minus B price. Next is supply curve. Ang ano naman natin, ang formula sa supply curve is ganito. Q, tapos may big letter na S, pero nasa baba lang siya. This function shows the quantity of a good producer. Dito yung mga gumagawa. Dun kasi sa demand curve, ayun yung mga nagko-consume, which is yung bumibili. Tapos dito naman sa supply, ayun yung mga producer, which is gumagawa. A good producer are willing and able to sell at different prices. Remember the difference. Sa supply curve, sa demand curve, willing and able to buy at different prices. Pero sa supply curve, willing and able to sell different prices. In short, yung demand curve is yung bumibili and yung supply curve is yung nagbebenta. It typically has a positive slope or the law of supply. As price increases, quantity supplied increases. Linear example. Supply curve is equal to C plus DP. Non-linear example. Supply curve is equal to C, P, tapos sa taas nun is may D na maliit, a power of function. Predicting equilibrium, price and quantity. The market equilibrium is a state where the quantity supplied equals the quantity demanded. The price and quantity at this point are the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. Example, linear. Demand function, dito sa example is demand curve. Demand curve is equals to 100 minus 2P. Supply curve equals 10 plus 4P. So, pagsasamahin natin sila para mahanap yung price, which is 100 minus 2P is equals to 10 plus 4P. So, ang gagawin natin is ipa-plus natin si 100 tsaka si 10. I-minus. 100 minus 10 is equals to 90. Then, i-add natin si yung 2 tsaka 4, which is 2P plus 4P, magiging 6P. So, the total is 9 is equal to 6P. Then, i-divide natin siya since divisible naman siya. 90 divided by 6 is equals to 15. So, di pa yung tapos. Isa-substitute natin yung price back into a demand function or supply function para mahanap natin yung quantity. Since hanap na natin yung price, hanapin din natin kung ilan yung quantity. So, ang gagawin natin is 100. Ano yung demand of function natin is 100 minus 2. At yung price natin is 15. ganito. Yung demand function natin is 100, then yung minus 2 ay yung demand function natin. Then yung price natin is 15 since 2p siya doon, 2p. And yung p, equivalent nun is 15. Equals 2 times 15 is equals to 30. Kaya naging 100 minus 30 equals 70. So, the equilibrium price is 15, tapos yung equilibrium quantity is 70 units. Ganun. Next is cost, revenue, and profit function. So these models are the foundation of a firm's decision-making in microeconomics, helping to determine the optimal production level. So yung model na to, yung pinaka-formula ng model na to is C times X, R times X, and P times X models. Sabihin na natin, let X be the number of units produced or sold. Cost function, Cx, the total cost of producing X units. Cx is equal to fixed costs. Cx is equals to fixed costs plus variable costs, which is the X. Example, Cx is equals to 5,000 plus 10x. 5,000 is the fixed cost. Then the 10 is the variable cost per unit. Revenue function, Rx, the total income from selling X units. Rx is equals to price P, quantity. Example, if the price is a constant 50 per unit, Rx is equals to 50x. Bali yung R natin is magiging 50. Bali magiging 50x siya. If the price depends on quantity, or example from a demand curve, Rx is equals to Px times X. Profit function, Px, the difference between total revenue and total cost. Px equals Rx minus Cx. So marginal analysis and profit maximization. The most powerful application is finding the quantity that maximizes profit. This is done using calculus. Marginal cost, or MC, the additional cost of producing one more unit. MC equals Cx. The first derivative of Cx. Marginal revenue. Marginal cost, marginal revenue. MCMR. The additional revenue from selling one more unit. MR equals Rx. Profit maximization rule. Profit is maximized at the level of output, which is X, where marginal revenue equals to marginal cost, Rx is equals to Cx. This is mathematically equivalent to setting the first derivative of the profit function to 0. Px is equals to Rx minus Cx equals 0. Break-even analysis. The break-even point occurs when a firm's total revenue equals its total cost, resulting in 0 profit. Px is equals to 0. Example, yung Rx is equals to 50x. Tapos yung Cx natin is equals to 5,000 plus 10x. Then pagsasamahin natin yan. 50x equals 5,000 minus 10x. Paano naging, dito na natin i-apply yung calculus. No. Basta. So, dito na natin i-apply yung so, para mahanap natin yung sagot is, ganito ang gagawin natin. Kailangan nating maalis yung 10x dito sa katabi ng 5,000. 5,000 plus 10x. Kailangan natin maalis yung 10x. So, ang gagawin natin is, since positive siya, ang gagamitin nating ang gagamitin natin is subtraction. Ima-minus natin. 50x minus 10x is equals to 5,000 plus 10x minus 10x. Dito na natin ito total. 50x minus 10x is equals to 40x equals 5,000. Then 10x minus 10x is wala, 0 na. Kaya magiging total na lang is 40x minus 5,000 equals 5,000. Then i-divide natin siya both side para mawala yung number. Mawala yung 40. Si x lang yung matira. I-divide natin siya both side from 40. 40 divided by 40 is 0. 5,000 divided by 40 is equals to 125. So x is equals to 125. The firm must produce and sell 125 units to break even. Any unit sold above 125 generates a profit. C. Economic forecasting models. Economists use statistical models to predict future values of macroeconomic variables like inflation and GDP. Time series and regression models. Time series models. These models analyze data collected sequentially over time. So example, the ARIMA, ARIMA stands for Autogressive Integrated Moving Average Models. Mas kilala siya as ARIMA models. An autogressive component, for instance, predicts tomorrow's inflation rate based on today's and yesterday rates. Regression models. These models establish a relationship between a dependent variable, or the one you are trying to predict, and one or more independent variables, which is the predictors. Application for forecasting. Inflation rate. A multiple regression model might predict the inflation rate, which is Y, based on the past money supply. X sub 1, unemployment rate. X sub 2, and ang money supply growth is X sub 1. Unemployment rate is X sub 2, and the oil prices is X sub 3. GDP growth, a time series regression model, which includes a time as a factor. Could be used to forecast GDP incorporating factors like consumer confidence, interest rates, and government spending data over time. Market trends, stock prices. While notoriously difficult, models like GARCH stands for Generalized Autogressive Conditional Heteroscedasticity. These are used to model the volatility or risk of financial returns over time, which is critically for investment decisions. So, ayan. Next natin is optimization in economics. Optimization is the process of finding the best possible outcome. Maximum profit, minimum cost, maximum utility, like that, given a set of constraints. Linear programming are for resource allocation. Linear programming, or LP, is a mathematical technique for maximizing or minimizing a linear objective function subject to a set of linear inequality constraints. It is widely used in resource allocation problems. Maximize profit. Objective is maximize profit with a Z, which is Z, or maximize cost. Example, maximize Z is equals to 5x sub 1 plus 8x sub 2, where x and x sub 2, where x sub 1 and x sub 2 are quantities of two products, and 5 and 8 are their per units costs. Constraints, restrictions on available resources, labor, raw materials, machine hours, etc. Example, 2x sub 1 plus 3x sub 2 is less than or equal to 100. A constraint on labor hours, requiring 2 hours for product 1 and 3 for product 1 and 3 for product 2, with 100 hours available. The solution to an LP problem is typically found at one of the found at one of the vertices, corner points, which is the corner points, vertices. Vertices of the feasible region defined by the constraints. Utility maximization and cost minimization. These are classic optimization problem in microeconomics, often solved using calculus, specifically the method of Lagrange multipliers when constraints are involved. Utility maximization. Consumer aims to choose a combination of good, a consumption bundle that provides the highest level of satisfaction subject to their budget constraints. Objective maximize Q close parenthesis xy, where U is the utility function and X and Y are quantities of two goods. Constraint Px times X plus Py times Y. Less than or equal to income. The optimal point is where the marginal rate of substitution, or MRS, equals the price ratio. So ayun yung formula. MRS XY is equals to MUX divided by MUY is equals to PX divided by PY. Cost minimization. Firms aim to produce a given level of output, which is the Q, at the lowest possible cost subject to their production technology, or the production function. Objective minimized cost is equals to WL plus RK, where W is the wage rate, R is the rental rate of capital, and L and K are labor and capital inputs. Constraints Q equals F, L, and K, the production function. The optimal points is where the marginal rate is technically substitution equals the input price ratio. Ito yung formula niya, MRT S, tapos sa baba niya is, wait, isusulat ko. So here is the formula of MRTS, marginal rate of technical substitution. Yan, may maliit siya na LK dito. MRTS, LK is equals to MP, may maliit na L equals MP, maliit na K equals W over R. And this optimization problems provide the theoretical basis for deriving consumers' demand curve and firms' supply curve. So that's all. And the next is modeling in biology and social sciences. It could be discussed by Mr. Dayat.
A modeling in biology and social sciences, where it means the application of mathematical models in biology and social sciences involves using mathematical structures to describe, explain, and predict patterns in living systems and human behavior. So, using mathematical models in biology and social sciences, makikita din natin ang paggamit or kung ano ba talaga ang connection or gaano kahalaga ang paggamit ng mathematical structures when it comes to describing a structure or a human behavior, living systems, patterns, and so on and so forth. So, may kita din natin dito kung paano natin na-apply sa pang-araw-araw or sa nakikita natin in our system of our living. So, next one, we have a excuse me. Next one, we have a population growth models where you can the sub variable here or sub topic here is the exponential and logistic models, where you can both this exponential and logistic models both describe population growth, but logistic growth accounts for environment limits while exponential growth does not. And exponential growth shows a population increasing indefinitely and creating a J-shaped curve, whereas logistic growth shows the growth rate slowing as it approaches the carrying capacity or the maximum population an environment can sustain, resulting in an S-shaped curve. Logistic growth is considered more realistic for most natural populations because it factors in limited resources. So, ayun, ginagamit natin yung mathematical model into population growth models in exponential and logistic models. So, sa exponential model or growth, may kita din natin yung J-shape kung paano nagtumaas yung population. Like for example ng natin ng mga tao, population of human here in Earth. Yun. So from this one, nung taong ganito, ganyan, like for example ganun, may kita natin na tumataas kasi yun nga, because of the of our living routine, yung mga pag ng taas ng teenage pregnancy, ganun. Makikita, pwede natin siyang gamitin doon sa pag-create ng graph. Makikita kasi natin yung J-shape and then kung paano siya mag-grow or tumaas. And then we have a logistic growth where you can also see that ganun din, parehas din siya ng exponential growth, pero yung sa logistic growth kasi paiba-iba siya, may pa-S-shape siya. May kita natin yung S-shape ng population. So ayun yung representation or yung kahalagahan ng population, anong mathematical model when it comes to population growth models. Next one, we have a carrying capacity and growth limitations. So dito, carrying capacity is the maximum population size as an environment can sustain long term, limited by factors like food, water, space, predators, and disease, or limiting factors. So dito sa carrying capacity and growth limitations, parang ito yung natural selection of our species of in this earth. So dito natin makikita yung kung gaano lang karami ang populasyon ng ganitong species sa ganitong environment. Like for us, sa ating mga tao, hindi naman tayo namumuhay sa iilan lang yung namumuhay sa malalamig na lugar. Lalo na kapag yung mga taong yun or yung mga population na yun is doon talaga sila na pinanganak doon sa malamig na klima. While dito sa Pilipinas, like for example, nasa gitna tayo, so may malamig, may mga seasons tayo na nararanasan. Rainy, may tawag dito, may El Nino, El Niña, at saka may mga ano pa tayo. Basta may nararanasan tayong mga klima or yung mga weather na iilan lang yung nakaka-survive dun sa ganong weather. So parang ganun siya, may mga limit lang dun sa environment na pwedeng mamuhay kasi because of their because of their immune system and kung paano mag-adapt tayo, kung paano mag-adapt yung mga species doon sa environment or selected environment na nababanggit or na nabanggit natin. So yun, let's move on the second one, the disease spread models or the epidemiology, where here you can we have a SIR model or susceptible infected recovered. So here the SIR, the susceptible infected recovered model for the spread of infectious diseases is a very simple model of three linear differential equations, and it examines how an uninfected population spreads a disease to a susceptible population which transforms into a recovered population. This model assumes no one dies from the disease and that the population is also isolated and stable, or no new people arrive by the birth or migration during the model simulation. Like for example, in nung naranasan natin yung magkaroon ng COVID-19 here in our sobrang ano siya, 'di ba, viral yung ano niya kasi virus yun. So mabilis kumalat yung virus because of siguro sa mabilis din yung pag-develop ng virus na yun. Kasi nga grabe yung ano niya infectious niya around the world. Kasi maraming bansa ang nakaranas ng isolation, ng lockdown, ganyan. So dito natin matatrack sa SIR model kung paano kabilis or kung gaano kabilis ang infection ng viruses or disease sa selected or selected country or epidemic talaga or pandemic. May kita natin doon or matatrack natin using the SIR model. So next, we have the predicting outbreak size and duration, where predicting outbreak size and duration relies heavily on epidemic models like SIR, SEIR models using math and data or transmission rates, recovery rates, population size to forecast spread. While real-time surveillance, genomic sequencing, and AI or machine learning refine these predictions by incorporating factors like new variants, interventions, mask or lockdowns, and social behavior, all crucial for public health planning and resource allocation. So, dito sa predicting outbreak size and duration, may ma-apply din natin mathematics models or application mathematical models when predicting outbreak of the viruses and diseases. Kasi dito matatrack din natin yung kung gaano siya katagal, kung gaano siya kabilis mag-spread, kung kinakailangan na ba natin mag-mask, magsagawa ng lockdowns, or matatrack din natin dito yung mga social behavior nating mga tao, or hindi lang tayong mga tao mismo, pati na lahat ng species. And also for public health planning, very important, or very very useful when it comes to public health planning and resource allocation, kasi you can predict the outbreak size and duration here, as you can see. And we have also an ecology models where predator-prey or Lotka-Volterra interaction. So ano ba yung Lotka-Volterra model? Excuse me. It describes classic predator-prey dynamics using two coupled differential equations showing cyclical fluctuations where more prey leads to more predators, which then reduces prey, causing predator numbers to fall, allowing prey to recover, and the cycle repeats. So, as you can see here, meron tayong predator-prey model. So, also known as the Lotka model, 1910 to 1926, ginamit siya. And then, used in chemistry, ginamit din siya sa chemistry, ecology, biomathematics, economy, and etc. So, yun. Like for example, this rabbit and the fox. Yun. 'Di ba yung fox kapag nagugutom? We have the prey, which is the rabbit. And then we have the predator, which is the fox. So yung predator, kakainin niya tong prey, which is the rabbit. Yung fox, kakainin niya yung rabbit. And then halimbawa kapag yung fox naman is yung namatay, pwede niya rin kainin yung fox, yung prey. Kumbaga, they are giving each other parang nagsa-cycle, mayroong cycle na nagaganap kasi they are eating each other. Kasi we have a predator and we have a prey. And kumbaga, pare silang carnivore. Pwede nilang kainin yung isa't isa, di ba? Like this one, the fox and the rabbit. Nagkakaroon ng cycle because yung fox pwede niyang kainin yung rabbit kapag halimbawa nagugutom yung fox. Gutom na gutom. And then yung mga rabbit, syempre mangungunti, di ba? Kapag naghunt tong fox ng mga rabbit na hayop. And then itong rabbit, kapag once na namatay naman tong mga fox, kakainin naman nila yung mga meat ng fox or ng wolf, di ba? Wolf pala siya. Wolf, di ba? So, pares silang carnivore, pares nagkakaroon ng cycle, di ba? Nagkakaroon tayo ng predator-prey model. And then, we have also the Lotka-Volterra equations where, yun nga, makikita nyo as you can see in our PowerPoint presentation. Ayan, yung equation niya. And also, we have the species competition, where species competition is an ecological interaction where organisms, either from the same species or intraspecific, or different species or interspecific, via for limited resources like food, water, space, or mates, lowering fitness for all involved and driving evolution, adaptation, and potentially leading to competitive exclusion or niche differentiation. As you can see here in our PowerPoint presentation, we have interspecific competition, where competition between members of different species. May kita natin yung cheetah and the lion here in the image, diba? So may competition na nagaganap dito, diba? Yung kung paano sila tumakbo. Mas mabilis syempre ang cheetah compare sa lion. And syempre, yung lion, kailangan niya rin ng makakain kasi nakakaranas sila ng hunger or kagutuman. So, once na yung lion ay nagutom, maghahunt sila ng mga animals within their environment, di ba? Like this one, the cheetah, hinahabol niya yung cheetah. Kahit ang bilis-bilis ng cheetah. Kasi gutom na gutom yung lion. So, excuse me. Ganon yung nagaganap na competition when it comes to interspecific competition. While dun sa intraspecific competition, it is a competition between members of the same species. Pareha silang species na may nagaganap na competition. Like yung mantis, tsaka yung hindi ko alam kung anong tawag dito, parang ganun din siya. Yung kulay brown. Tapos itong, yung mantis, tsaka yung, basta iba siyang ano eh, pares din siya, ganun din uri ng, parang grasshopper, tapos yung isa mantis, parang ganun. Ayun. So, diba, nagkakaroon sila ng competition sa isa't isa kahit na parehas sila ng species or ng kind. So, ayun yung pinapakita ng intra-specific competition. Next is the diffusion of innovation model. So, here, it developed by Everett Rogers explains how new ideas, products, and technology spread through a population in a predictable pattern. And the theory divides the population into 5 adapter categories: innovators, early adopters, early majority and late majority, and laggards, based on their rate of adoption. So here, as you can see, we have the diffusion model diffusion of innovation model, where the innovators, these are the people are very willing to take risks and want to be the first to try the innovation. Maano natin ito sa ma-apply natin ito sa ating mga trends na naganganap sa atin. And then the early adopters, we have these are the people are already aware of the need to change and are very comfortable in adopting new ideas. Next, we have the early majority, yung nasa gitna. These people adopt new ideas after seeing evidence that the innovation works. And also we have the late majority, where the second to the last segment of a population to adopt innovative technology as it diffuses through a society. And we have also the laggards, the last to adopt a new product or service. They resent change and may continue to rely on traditional products until they are no longer available. So ayun, dito nire-represent niya lang yung kung paano tayong mga tao na from innovators, from early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. Di ba may mga trends na nagaganap sa atin? Sa mga TikTok, sa fashion, ganyan. Sa foods, sa business, ganyan. Sa social media, sa vlogs, may nagaganap na trends. So, dito, nire-represent tayo according to our awareness or kung paano natin ginagamit yung innovation of technology, especially in technology, 'di ba? Kung paano nag-evolve or kung paano rin tayo kung paano rin natin ina-adapt yung technology na na-develop through as time goes by. Kasi mabilis mag-adapt or evolve or mag-upgrade yung technology. So, tayo din mga tao, may mga ano rin tayo na may mga phases tayong yung iba hindi gaanong ina-adapt yung ganito kasi mas prefer nila or mas ano sila sa ganitong traditional, ganyan. So, yun lang pinapakita dito sa diffusion of innovation model. Next one, we have the queuing theory. So, ano nga ba yung queuing theory? This is the mathematical study of waiting lines used to analyze and optimize service system like hospitals and banks by balancing service capacity cost with customer waiting time. So, ginagamit lang naman natin tong queuing theory by halimbawa, kapag meron tayong what do we call this, sa ating mga shopping or sa ating pag-take ng order sa mga restaurant, ganyan, queuing number, meron tayong mga ginagamit na queuing number. Kasi kung sino yung mga first come, first serve, sila yung, syempre, first serve sila, di ba? First come, first serve sila. And, sunod-sunod na yun. Kasi, ang unfair sa mga taong hindi maagang dumating pero hindi nasusunod yung mga nila. Kaya nga sila maaga dumating kasi para mas mabilis silang makaalis or maka-uwi, di ba? At saka para mas organize yung system kapag like halimbawa sa mga bangko ganyan, di ba? May queuing number na nagaganap or na nangyayari. May queuing theory na ginagamit. And so many more. Ayun. Next is voting and decision-making models. Dito naman, voting and decision-making models are frameworks for group choices ranging from people majority rules to complex systems like ranked choice, aiming to aggregate individual preferences into collective outcome, incorporating elements like rational choice, psychological factors, or party ID, and context-specific approaches, or weighted voting, multi-voting, to balance efficiency, consensus, and fairness in low to high stakes situation. So, yan. Meron tayo ditong image or the example of voting and decision-making models. So, yan. Meron tayong identify the problem. Ano ba? We have first the identify first the problem. So, syempre, pag tayo gagawa ng mga decision, kailangan muna natin i-identify kung ano ba yung problem within the society, within the community, or especially within the country. Diba? Or environment. And then, the second one is establish decision criteria. So, So, mag-create ka syempre ng ano bang kailangan nating iset or ano kailangan nating mga goals para sa gagawin nating kalakaran, ganyan, 'di ba? Kailangan nating gumawa ng mga criteria. Mag-establish ng criteria. And next is weigh decision criteria. So, syempre, hindi lang tayo basta-basta kailangan ganito, mag-set tayo ng goal ng ganyan-ganyan. Kailangan natin timbangin kung ano yung mas importante, ano yung dapat unahin, ano yung mga sa mga susunod pa na dapat gawin when you are making a decision. So, kumbaga, step by step siya na decision. Or kung ano yung mga kailangan natin balansehin kung mas makakabuti ba ito sa ating mga nasasakupan, sa ating mga mamamayan, ganyan-ganyan, or hindi naman masyado. So, kailangan natin balansehin yung paggawa or create ng decision. And also, generate alternatives. So, syempre, kapag tayo ay gagawa ng decision, kailangan natin gumawa ng alternative. Hindi lang tayo nakafocus sa isang mode. Like, halimbawa, ito sabihin natin na mas okay siya, mas maganda siya. Pero, affordable ba siya? Or ano ba siya? Smart. Kailangan natin siyang gamitan ng specific, measurable, attainable, resource, relevant, and timeliness. So, dapat, doon pa lang, makikita na natin kung kailangan pa ba natin gumamit ng alternative. Kasi hindi lang naman tayo nakaset sa isang decision. Kasi may mga pagkakataon or sometimes na ay mas okay pa pala yung ganito. Mas makakatipid tayo sa ganitong setup, 'di ba? Ganun, kumbaga may backup plan ka, may alternative plan ka kapag gagawa ka ng decision. Especially kapag gagawa ka ng bilang president, 'di ba? Sa loob ng bansa, kailangan magdesisyon ka ng maayos. Also, we have the evaluate the alternatives. I-evaluate mo yung mga alternatives. Kung etong sa option 1, ganyan-ganyan. Kung baga may nakaset up ka na mga pang-backup mo para doon sa mga plano mo. Pag hindi nag-click to sa option 1, meron ka nakaset sa option 2. And so on and so forth. Ganun siya. Mag-evaluate mo yung mga ginagawa mong alternative. Kailangan mong isa-isahin. Kung hindi nag-click to, syempre, kailangan mong mag-move sa isang mong option. Diba? I-evaluate mo sila isa-isa. Next is choose the best alternative. So, dito na kailangan mo nang mamili kung ano yung pinaka-best sa lahat na alternative na pinresent or na ginawa mong decision, di ba? Or sa plano mo. So, doon, yun na yung pang-anim na step. And then the last one is the implement the decision. Kailangan mo nang i-implement yung decision na nagawa, pinresent mo or pinropose mo. Kasi, yun na yung pinaka parang fix na decision mo. I-implement na yung decision na napag-usapan nyo within your member or within your official or inside the Senate, ganyan-ganyan. Or especially in the president, di ba? May step by step pa yun eh. Parang Senate hearing, may mga ganyan-ganyan. Tapos, hanggang sa mapirmahan ng Pangulo. Hanggang sa may sa batas yung ganong paggawa ng batas, di ba? Ayun yung pinaka best or ayun yung kung paano umiikot or kung paano gumawa ng isang decision or ng voting. Ayun. So, dumako naman tayo sa engineering and physical sciences models. So, it will discussed by Mr. Rolando de la Sana.
Instructional engineering model is a subdiscipline of civil engineering in which instructional engineering are trained to design the bones and joints that create form and shape of human made. So in instructional model, engineers calculate the stability, rigidity, and strength na tinatayo nilang mga structures. So stress and strain. So, yung stress is the force applied per unit area on a material. Samantalang yung strain is the ratio of change in dimension. Meron tayong two formula. For stress is O equals to force over area. For strain, E equals to change length over original length. So, yung stress, yung example na ito is yung mga steel cables sa mga bridges. So yung engineer doon kinakalculate nila yung stress ng cable dahil na rin sa bigat sa weight ng bridges and also dun sa may traffic load ng mga sasakyan. So in this model sa stress and strain, we use this to understand and predicting the material's behavior. So dito nilaalam natin how material responds to a force. Beam deflection models, mathematical or computational representation that analyze a beam behavior under load, calculating internal forces like bending. So sa beam deflection, ina-allows ang mga engineers dito to predict and control the beam behavior or of instructional under load. This model is essential for ensuring safety and optimizing design. So, meron tayong 6 types of beam. First is cantilever, simply supported, overhanger, continuous, fixed-ended, cantilever, and cantilever simply supported. Load distribution model is a represent how forces are spread across an object or structures. So in this model, we analyze the instruction stability and also we understand how forces are spread throughout an structures, from simple static to advanced finite element analysis. So we have 4 types of load distribution. First, uniformly distributed load. Second, non-uniformly distributed load. Third, point load. And lastly, line load. Sa uniformly distributed load, meron tayong formula is FR equals to intensity times length. Sa non-uniformly distributed load, meron tayong formula FR equals to 1/2 times base times height. Electrical engineering model is a mathematical description or an equivalent electrical circuit used to represent the behavior of this device or a system. Ohm's law describes the relationship between the voltage, current, and resistance. In electrical circuit, the stating current is directly proportional to the voltage and inversely proportional to the resistance. So, sa Ohm's law, ina-allows tayo to predict and control the flow of electricity. Meron tayo ditong formula for voltage, resistance, and also sa current. Sa formula natin sa voltage, V equals to I or resistance ay current over resistance. Meron tayong formula sa resistance equals to voltage over current. And sa current naman is equals to voltage over resistance. Kirchhoff's circuit law consists of 2 principles used to analyze complex electrical circuit. Sa first principle natin sa Kirchhoff law or current law or junction rule, kung ano yung pumapasok na kuryente ay dapat same amount din ng kuryente na nilalabas. Ay yung rule sa current law ng first principle ng Kirchhoff. And Kirchhoff loop rule or yung voltage law, yung the sum of all voltage drop and voltage rises around any closed loop in a circuit is 0. Signal processing model is a mathematical representation of a signal or its associated system used to analyze, manipulate, and extract information from data. So, dito sa signal processing model, na-analyze natin and na-manipulate And also, nag-extract tayo ng data. For example, analog to digital, digital to analog. Industrial and System Engineering or ISE, the discipline of designing, improving, and installing integrated system of people, material, information, equipment, and energy to increase efficiency and quality. Optimization is the core technique within operation research that use mathematical model to find the best solution to a problem. Sa optimization, dito nag-aano tayo ng best solution para ma-solve natin yung problem. So, for example natin dito is yung production planning. Nagpaplano tayo for mga kung ano-ano, and then resource allocation. And also dito, papasok dito yung mga schedule ng mga employees. Kung saan sila, kunwari, kung free sila sa mga ganyan, kung working student pa sila. So, mas na-manage natin. Sa inventory and supply chain model is a strategy for managing the flow of goods from supplies to customer to balance the efficiency and demand. Sa inventory and chain model, dito is example, company can make data driven to decision that improves the efficiency and affects the effectiveness of their inventory supply chain operation. Reliability models for machines and systems analyze how systems reliability is determined by its components, structural arrangement, and operating conditions. So, sa reliability models for machines and theories and systems, tools siya that helps na ma-predict how long a machine or a system will work before it fails. So, dito yung engineer and dahil dyan ang engineers and designers natin ay nakakapag-develop ng more dependable and robust system, and nare-reduce yung risk of failures, and also na-improve ng mga engineer yung overall performance nila. P6 models, simplified representations of real-world system used to understand, predict, and test theories. Newton's law of motions, allowing us to models how forces upon motion. Meron tayong two formulas. Velocity equals to distance over time, acceleration over velocity over time. Sa Newton's law of motion, meron tayong three laws. First is law of inertia, second is law of acceleration, and lastly law of reaction. Reaction. So in these three laws, nagpo-provide siya ng framework for understanding the motion and the forces. Chemistry models are physical or mathematical representation used to understand molecules and their behaviors. Reaction rate models are a mathematical framework that describe the spread of chemical reactions. So, ang reaction rate models is help us to predict how concentration change over time and how fast reaction occurs. So, depending on concentration, temperatures, and others factors. Concentration and diffusion model. Dito, describe how substances spread from high to low concentration. Climate and environmental model. Atmospheric modeling is a mathematical or numerical representation of planet atmosphere. So, ang atmospheric modeling natin is ginagamit siya to simulate its property and behavior. Pollution and dispersion model, a mathematical simulation using computer program. So, ang pollution and dispersion model natin, ginagamit siya to predict how air pollutants spread from a source. Like, tulad ng factories, cars, papunta sa atmosphere, and also yung pollution dispersion natin, ini-estimate niya yung downwind and concentration and potential impact on air quality for regulatory planning or emergency response.